It is a great day in SimWorld. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to SimWorld Today. I'm B-Ron. Alongside me, as always, is my co-host for the morning show, Yells. What's up, man? Good morning. How you doing? Good to be back
You,
with you for another week.
hey, it's Monday, so you know how I'm feeling. I'm feeling good, baby. It's Monday. Let's do this. Let's do this, Johnny.
Let's do this, Johnny. Indeed, man. Boy, had some big news over the weekend. And one of the biggest things was that Dylan Harper has confirmed to be joining SimWorld Prep, and there's a lot of talk about him. We'll get into some more of that here in a minute. But first, we got a little 247 package we want to show you guys to let you know more about Dylan Harper.
People are calling Baby Harden. Meet Dylan Harper, the number one player in the country in the class of 2024, according to 24/7 Sports. Similar to Harden, he's a 6'5" lefty combo guard with a 6'10" wingspan. Dylan's physical attributes and the fact that he's a lefty obviously draw the Harden comparison, but he also has a nasty step back jumper and an overall crafty style of playmaking that's similar to Harden. Dylan punishes smaller guards by playing out of the post for his New York Rens squad, as he does a great job of sealing off defenders, tossing dimes, or flat out just getting buckets. During this spring's EYBL, he averaged 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, while shooting over 50% from the floor. Harper's regular season EYBL stats are even more impressive once you break them down. He was 9th in scoring while also being 3rd in assists, and he was also 13th in rebounding as a guard. These stats really help highlight the fact that Harper's impact is felt all over the game. He's one of those players that does a little bit of everything for his team and really helps contribute to winning. He was flat out dominant in some of the games I watched. Dylan does a great job of sensing the flow of the game and picking when to score or picking when to create for his teammates. Harper can score the ball from all 3 levels as well. He can knock down outside shots. He also loves torturing defenders in the mid-range, and his size also helps him get easy buckets around the rim. Dylan is the son of former NBA champion and all-star Ron Harper, and his older brother Ron Harper Jr. went to Rutgers and is now a part of the Raptors G League squad. Therefore, there are some rumors out there that he could team up with the number 2 player in the class of 2024, Ace Bailey. Ace is already committed to Rutgers, but I've also seen the entire Duke coaching staff alongside Jason Tatum at his EYBL games recruiting him as well. Only time will tell where he ends up playing his college basketball, but Dylan Harper is definitely a name that you need to know if you're a basketball fan.
So, there you see it there. Nice package put together there by Slam and 247. B-Ron, the kid is a crazy hooper. I'll tell you a couple things that stood out there. What I do know is Indiana's looking at him, Rutgers, Duke. I mean, there's
Yeah.
quite a few schools looking at this kid, and he's got a hell of a game. What stood out there to me was his size. It looked like he played with pace. He had a kind of a professional pro feel to his game that you normally don't see at the collegiate, or excuse me, at the high school prep level. You normally see
Right.
these kids just kind of moving, going as fast as they can, dunking. It's like, hey, I got to show you everything I got in this bag right
Yeah.
now. But it
Right.
looks like he's just kind of getting to the money as he chose to. Another thing that stood out there was somebody that ran that dribble handoff with him. I think it was number 24 on his team. His knees were crazy ashy. Get that man some lotion. It's winter, man. Hey, we know what time it is. For some of us, it's
Yeah.
it's
Right.
lotion time. Cocoa butter, baby oil, whatever you need to use, bro. Or put on some. You need to get some long sleeve compression shorts if you're not gonna
Person shorts.
lotion up.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dylan Harper, man, what do you think he's bringing to this league?
Man, I think the biggest thing is the pace that you mentioned a minute ago. I think that, like you said, that's something that we don't see a lot at this level, and that could be a big thing. And to bring up something else that was mentioned in the video there too. He's one of Ron Harper's kids, so I think him having a dad who played in the league um, has been a big factor in terms of that, getting his pace right, if that makes sense. He's already playing at that pace now. He'll be more comfortable at it when he gets to the pro level.
Yeah, I've made a joke. Y'all have heard me make this joke in the past. Some of the guys on the SimWorld TV crew. Ron Harper was considered at one point in time. They called him the poor man's Michael Jordan. His game was very similar. Then he ended up playing with MJ, and he was the king of getting interviewed after a game.
Yeah.
about Michael Jordan's performance and not his. So I think his son's definitely going to lay a claim of his own. Like I said, I looked at looking at that package, seeing what I've seen him. I did a little research over the last week or so when I heard he may be coming to join SimWorld Prep, and I think he is going to be big time for this. He's out. I think he's out of New Jersey, so we're gonna see where he's landing. We're expecting to hear, where he wants to play here in the
Right.
next few days, and
I'd
if that
imagine soon. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
and I think some of the teams will let us know. They'll get with the league and say, hey, we're accepting his paperwork and we want him to join our team. So we're gonna
There's a
see here
few
pretty soon.
teams in the area, in the surrounding area, who I feel like he could go to, and there's a lot of obvious choices: Run DMV, Beast of the East, Gotham Five. Um, I think I'm forgetting one right now off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
there's a few of the teams. I'll give you,
yeah,
I'll give you the heads up what I'm hearing. I'm hearing Beast of the East, I'm hearing Gotham Five, I'm hearing Philadelphia Elite. The
Philadelphia
originators
was the
are a
last one. Yeah.
possibility. A couple of not so long shots because they're in the conversation, which I think is crazy. Best Coast Ballers seem to be a
Oh
possible
wow.
destination for him. The Indy Stripes because of his connection to looking to play at Indiana, and the Queen City Kings. So I think that's the not so short
Okay.
list for Dylan Harper. Um, so we'll see and how he changes the dynamic of the landscape of the league in general. We got Cooper Flag, we got him, but we got our guys, man. We got our guys. You want to talk about our guys? Some enough about this guy that's just coming in, who's he's got all the cachet, man. He's got all the cachet, right? So
Yeah. So yeah, we gotta talk about, of course, Benari James. Of course we do. And he's in a new spot, a new situation now after last season with the Indy Stripes, the fallout that happened with all of that thing. Now with the Heartland Zombie Stars, Brian Loveless, new coach over there. The question becomes now: we know the kind of personality Benari has both on and off the court. We know he can ball, but can he set up his own way? Is the question really?
yeah,
Because like that's a big thing. Go ahead. I'll
no,
let you
I,
talk about it.
I I think I mean, he's shown a lot of maturity here
He has.
recently. I know I read something in the feeds, in the feed earlier, was somebody was saying, hey, I want to see more of his personality, just kind of laying low though with it. I
Yeah.
agree. He's a major personality for SimWorld Prep. He's put himself on the map. I think he has a great personality. I like all those things he brings. It's just when he's seemed frustrated that he's been unable to reel it in, or we saw those moments where he would just kind of go full throttle. I used to tell my mom this. My mom is like, hey, my mom was super laid back, super cool. But when she goes hard on something, it's like a pit bull locking in. It's like, hey, you want to drop it? Can't we drop this now? And she couldn't.
Yeah.
Benari,
Right.
that's what we saw from him in the past. It's like, hey, you could have fell back on some of this a little earlier, but you chose not to. But other than that, he's been low key. He's been pretty low key for a while.
He
Um,
has.
and I appreciate his big personality. I like those big personalities. They're great for the game. They're great for his personal brand. But we're talking basketball. We got to talk about what it is he does on the court, and he is an absolute baller on the court. So I don't want to take anything from him on that. I think he stays out of his own way in regard to getting it done on the court, because he's going to be in a more of a winning situation, playing alongside some of the kids that he's playing alongside, and being coached by Coach Lovelace. Um, that situation that they had last year out in India, it was toxic. It was straight up toxic. So I think that lent itself to a lot of the things that we saw from not only Benari, but he who shall remain nameless, on that squad, and a few other guys. Um, but you got some better leadership there, with Coach Lovelace. I will say Coach Lovelace had his own moment in the sun. So it'll be an interesting pairing. I think they'll work really well together. Not to turn this into a different segment, but you got
Right.
Benari James, you got Coach Lovelace, who had his moment in the sun with outspoken words. You got Jaquan Johnson, who has absolutely rubbed some guys the wrong way, with some outspoken statements there as well. Uh, this could be the most wonderful pairing where everyone just kind of comes into their own, or this could get really crazy really quick. Shout out to Robert McGee, who's on that squad now, though. I think he could be the locker room leader and keeping everything
Yeah.
calm there.
The
So
linchpin, if you will, holding everything together.
yeah.
Yeah, I think to kind of put a bow on things really. I think he'll be able to stay out of his own way on the court for sure. Off the court though, it's always one area to be aware of because you see it you see it when someone comes after a teammate or or your coach or whoever, and you want to stand up for them, and that's great. But I think the biggest thing is saying your piece and getting out and not going back and forth with people because we've seen it numerous times where throughout the off season where it's trying to say something and it just goes for no back and forth for no reason. Say your piece, get out. That's the easiest way to keep yourself out of trouble, in my opinion.
You
Say what you need to say and get out.
I know you know who Lil Duval is because you just made that quote. I hated this song with all my heart, but what he had to say, that's how you live. I'm living my best life. He wasn't
Yeah,
saying no real words. I think he said, I'm living my best life, even though it didn't sound that way. And then he said, I ain't going back and forth with you. Hey, whatever you say in your hood. Don't be going
yeah,
back and forth. I'm with you. I'm with you, B. Ron.
100%, 100%. Man, we got a lot of people out there though who are living their new best life essentially because we had some more commitments over the weekend as the commitment craze continues. Um, One of the biggest ones was SimWorld Oceana getting the commitment from Damian Luffy. That is huge for them. There were some other ones as well. Bad Boys are I don't know if it's official yet, but it looks like they're in talks for getting Jarrell Beauchamp.
Oh,
Bad Boys is that
wow.
again? Like if that's been confirmed, I've missed it. But what I saw Saturday, it was just like talks, and it was getting close to actually happening.
Yeah, I don't think
And
it's final
then
from what I'm hearing is it's not final yet, but I mean, you know how this goes. If we're hearing that it's
yep,
talks, that
right,
means some
yeah,
conversations are being
anything could
had.
change. Yep,
So
Ty Murica from Maryland going to Central Europe. Tyler
Montalvin,
Montalvan. Mon
Montalvin, I got your back. Tyler
Montalvan, got you,
Montalvin.
got you. Prince Small over here. So going to Seymour, South America.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, Willerick Kraus going to Best Coast Ballers. There's a lot of things here. But any of these moves that are big or shocking or anything like that to you that stick out?
Two. The Damian Luffy. I mean, of
Yeah,
course, that's huge. Like
yeah,
he left the Pacific Northwest. He said, "Hey, and he came out and he showed respect and he cleared the air, which I thought was huge. He was like, "Hey, these guys did reach out to me. I was not neglected on the recruiting trail or anything like that.
right,
These guys knew what my talent was, but they're stacked. And I need,
right,
I needed a place to shine. He had some relatives out in the Australia area, I hear. And he's headed to Australia. Yeah, I guess he has his visa. He had everything already lined up. So that's
yeah,
crazy to me. You brought up the Jarrell Beauchamp. I don't understand. And I like that y'all call him Beauchamp. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out the proper way to say it. Beauchamp sounds a lot better. Me
I say
knowing
that because the last name it's Champ. So I'm like champ. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense. Right? Give
you
me a
got to
spot.
know you got to know your Creole and your Southern French.
Ah,
That may
gotcha.
be
Okay, okay,
Beaucamp,
that's
sir.
what it is.
But it could be Beauchamp. I
American
like
can't
the
talk.
Beauchamp a lot better. Um, if he gets out of the Rocky Mountain area where there's not not disparaging that region, but there's not a whole lot of high level talent that we've seen over the last couple seasons, and he's been one that is head and shoulders above some of the talents we've seen in that region. For him to not go to almost one of the lone squad in that area, which is Rocky Mountain Monsters, I don't even know if they've been in talks or whatnot. Maybe he never wanted to play for him. I don't know. But
Right.
him going anywhere other than that team is absurd to me. And to go to Detroit of all places, who wants to go to Detroit? Who? I'm sorry, man. Who wants to go
Oh
to
man,
Detroit? You ever been to
you
Detroit?
I've never been there. No.
I know you haven't. You're not going either. You're not. You're not. No one's going to Detroit, man.
Oh man, the D20 slander this morning is crazy. You're not gonna get the reference, but that's fine. But some people out there listening might get this. Yells right now sounds like the Black Hokage slandering Cleveland. If any of you out there know who that is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm gonna leave it at that.
What's his name? I gotta do my research.
The Black Hokage, or for short, just T. Yeah, TBH.
I don't even know what you just said. I'm flabbergasted this morning. Hey, I feel the same way about whatever thing you just said as I feel about the city of Detroit. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
Any other notables? I do want to ask you how you feel about a couple of these moves. The Tyler Montalvin deal with him going to SimWorld South America. I like when I see state. Here we're gonna bring it up, get it sparked up. Shout out Gabe Pope. Shout out J Mo. Shout out you guys that we've given the media is giving a hard time. We've given a hard time for leaving you guys' area that y'all rep so hard. And I ain't leaving Puerto Rico. I've been there, and if I'm staying there, I'm not getting out of there. There's some good looks down there, if you know what I mean. But yeah, for you guys that have left stateside to come get your shine
Mhm.
on, or excuse me, left your nation to come get your shine on stateside, B-Ron, conversely, we got a couple of guys, Tyler Montalvin, Eric Banks also, where they said, hey, I'm going to South America to get my shine on. I'm
Yeah.
going to somewhere where I can get all the minutes. What do you make of that?
So
And what do
I
you make?
think
What do
if
you make? Let me ask you. What do you make of the What do you make of that dynamic and that dichotomy between what the Gabe Popes and the J Mo's of the world have had to say versus what these two kids are doing?
so I think that if we're going to disparage one, I feel like we should disparage the other as well. It's
Mm,
only fair. Um, to say that, I don't I think it's disingenuous to do that. But I I don't have a short way of putting it right now, but I think that it'll be interesting to see how that all works out because that's a totally different environment, culture wise, and all of
yeah,
that. How does Tyler adjust, and how do those players stateside adjust to going across the country, across the world to play in those areas? I think is going to be big too.
yeah. All I know is they said, hey, maybe they weren't getting the kind of looks they wanted to get looked at stateside because all of the quote unquote talent is stateside, so they would get
Yeah,
more of an opportunity to shine in a quote
internationally.
unquote international smaller basketball market. I just think
Yeah,
it's an interesting dichotomy. When you compare it to other statements that were made that were adversely different. So, interesting stuff there, B. Ron. We'll keep it
yeah,
moving. The
exactly.
commitment craze continues. More news to come today. I'm sure. B. Ron, how much hype is too much hype?
So look, this all kind of sparked for me when Cooper Flag committed to more prep, and there was a headline that came out. I think it was Saturday, saying, can he potentially break CKC's record for points per game in a season, that
You
kind of
you
thing.
fell out your chair.
Uh, I so no, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't just because I feel like these are the kind of conversations that should be happening, and this is the whole point in my opinion. This is one of the things that the media is supposed to do. And I feel like I saw the comments in the thread. People are talking about stop hyping him up and all the things like that. But I'm sitting there thinking about it. And I'm like, if it was you on the other end of that, you wouldn't be relishing in all of this opportunity, all of this hype that you're getting.
Mm,
So I don't think the hype is too much, personally. I do think that there are disadvantages and advantages to it,
mhm.
but but I think that you have to be able to handle it, and not everyone can handle the hype. But that's a totally different conversation. But again, for me, the biggest thing is, you know, this is one of the things media is supposed to do. We drive conversation. One of those things to build hype, regardless of what it is. But you, as the audience, have to manage your own expectations.
Yeah.
If that's something you choose to do, great. You can get hyped up about a new movie or a new game or whatever it is and get how hyped up about it, right?
Mhm.
But when it doesn't deliver, be it of your own expectations or not, that's something you have to come to terms with. But right now we're in that hype building phase for everything.
I
So
think
yeah,
no,
I
I
think it's
think
too
you
much.
I think you're absolutely right. You got to temper your own expectations. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to anything outside of the sports world, I assume it's not going to be as good as what I hope it is. That's how I temper my expectations. When it comes to sports though, There's more people, in my opinion, more people than your opinion. There's more experts who have spent all the time available talking about
Right.
someone. You do your due diligence. If
Right.
500 people are saying something, as I made my Whitney Houston joke a while back, if 500 people are saying something, it's probably true, right?
Hmm.
It could be wrong. But this is
Could be.
based
Yeah.
on research. This is based on information. This is based on calculated input. This isn't based on a person saw a thing and said something.
Hmm.
Yeah. So when it comes to sports, like if somebody's just hyped in that way, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do my research, see how many people are saying it, see what the credible sources are, how many people have said it.
Yep.
Is there footage we can look at, and I'm gonna contrast that against the competition they've been playing against, which does count. And I think that was a lot of the talk. Hey, he hasn't played against the talent level that's in SimWorld Prep, which you know SimWorld Prep is the best of the best. Well,
Yeah.
they've showcased this
Showcase. Yeah.
in a short period of time. That it's a condensed a consolidation of all the best players in prep basketball in one league.
Right.
So all of that's true. It doesn't take away the fact that the eye test and what the experts had to say is that this kid was great. So when it comes to the hype in sports, more times than not, you gotta buy into it at some level. If you wanna choose not to see the hype, you're gonna see it live and in person on the court. And I do believe that Cooper Flag is going to humble, as you say, he's gonna humble a lot of people's A's. He seems like he's the type of kid to say, "Hey, do you believe the hype now?" That may be
Yeah.
said from the court to a player. So. Or
Hmm.
in the post game. So yeah, I think the hype. You're right. The hype is warranted. It's what the sports media is supposed to do. That's what everyone's fighting for, is that hype.
Right.
But also, if it's warranted, it's warranted, man. Hey,
Yeah.
somebody called Michael Jackson and Prince like the baddest performers alive. It's just not hype. It's what it is. And if
Yeah.
someone tells you, man, hey, you go to one of these concerts, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be one of the greatest performances you ever seen. Somebody told you that back in the day. Somebody tell you go to a Chris Brown show, it's gonna be that ain't hype. That's him telling you what the deal is. So
Hmm.
you take it.
Exactly.
You take it,
Exactly.
man.
Agreed. 100%. 100%. Real quick though, we got to get out of here on this one final thing. We got Darian Kingy Cross not following in his brother's footsteps and going to Maryland, instead going to Georgia. What do you think about that move? Because personally, that was a bit of a shock to me to see him. Well, okay, no, it wasn't a shock to me, it wasn't a shock to me in the sense that he's continuing to break away from his brother's shadow, getting out of that shadow, which I understand doing that. So, what are your quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not shocked at all. I'm nowhere near shocked. It seems like he's wanted to stay away from his brother's shadow. We saw comments about that all last season prior. We never even
Yep.
heard about him when we were hearing about Cooper King and Cross. We didn't even know he had a brother.
Yeah.
Relative back to Cooper Flag. The Coopers, that's crazy. A lot of Coopers in this. But so yeah, the Cooper Flags. We know about his brother. We just heard about Ron Harper, son here with Dylan Harper, and found out that Dylan Harper had a brother. We heard about that, but we never heard about Darian King Cross when we were hearing about Cooper King Cross. So yeah, get out of his shadow. Not shocked. It's fully expected on my end. And I wish him the best at Georgia.
Absolutely, absolutely. Me too. And you know what? Thank you all for joining us here on SimWorld today. We appreciate your time. As always, starting off the week right with your boys over here, us, in the words of Maestro. Anyway, you guys, that's going to do it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. And until then, just remember, SimWorld is the only place where you can see the game, be the game. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Hey, get on that TikTok post. Show your love.